Today, my anthropological argument will touch on three subjects. The subjects are intersectionality and the discriminatory acts that happened due to that, manifest destiny and the colonization that occurred during that time period, and Black Lives Matter and the classism and stereotypes that result from that. Kimberly Crenshaw is one of my sources for this argument, and her TED Talk shed light on what intersectionality is and how it could harm a person. Some of the examples she gave were predominantly African American themed, and that's understandable because discriminatory acts against African Americans are now something that's well known and well spotted. But when you are being discriminated against because you are African American and you are something else that people could discriminate against you towards, that is the occurrence of intersectionality. An example could be a black gay man that is refused a job due to his gayness and his blackness. And that is a double discrimination that sort of leaves him, up the creek without a paddle, in regards to somebody or, a group to reach out for him. The second topic that I found relatable to our modules and to this argument was manifest destiny and the colonization that occurred during manifest destiny. What's interesting about manifest destiny is that when you learn about it in grade school, it is typically depicted as a heavenly approved venture westward, and it blatantly ignores the obvious colonization of Native Americans and the genocide that occurred during that colonization. Today, there are a lot of outcries about immigrants stealing jobs or fear that our country is crowded. And I find that ironic because our country was more or less founded on a bedrock of colonization, on a bedrock of forced slavery, and to be anything other than open to immigrants coming to our country would feel wrong and ironic. I think that a policy that outlines anti-ethnocentric views could benefit our country greatly. Ethnocentrism also occurs in respect to the Black Lives Matter movement. Black Lives Matter is sort of a polarizing movement that African Americans started due to the injustice they were suffering, from police brutality to false incrimination to false imprisonment and a laundry list of terrible acts. But there's a bit of classism displayed in the Black Lives Matter group because if you associate with Black Lives Matter, you are then stereotyped into a different group of people, similar to feminists. If you identify yourself as a feminist, you also get stereotyped as many other different things. Just real quick, while doing research into Black Lives Matter, I discovered that African American communities can sometimes output a large amount of crime due to poverty, due to unfit teaching scenarios, due to many different things, and it's essentially a lack of funding and a lack of attention towards poor African American communities that are blatantly disregarded, and this is due to classism and ethnocentrism. My argument is that if our country and the people that live within our bounds could form a less ethnocentric point of view, then we could potentially bond and become a better company, better country.